Today, we will be discussing about causes and impact of human on climate change. What is climate change?
Climate change is lasting changes in the Earth's temperature and weather patterns.
How is climate change different from the daily change in weather?
Climate change isn't just like a simple change of weather in a day. It's not like the day will be sunny, but then rainy a few hours later. Climate change is more than that. Climate change can cause extreme weather events like heat waves that could cause wildfires, strong storms, which could damage surrounding agriculture, and droughts, which can lead to both water and food shortages for humans and animals.
What are greenhouse gases?
Greenhouse gases are gases in the atmosphere that trap heat, preventing it from leaving the atmosphere and causing the earth to warm up. These gases mostly consist of carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases. How these gases are made is from human activity like burning fossil fuels for electricity, heat, and any type of transportation.
How they work.
How do greenhouse gases affect Earth's temperature?
Because of the buildup of gases in the atmosphere, the Earth's average temperature has increased by 2 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 1.1 degrees Celsius.
How is Earth's climate changing?
Glaciers and sea ice are melting because of climate change. The ice on our planet is almost like a cooler since the white of the ice reflects any excess heat back into space and helps keep the planet cooler, but also home to many animals. But due to climate change, the ice is melting. Glaciers, when they melt, also contribute to rising sea levels since they contain large amounts of water, which also affects weather patterns. Earth's wildlife is also affected by climate change. Because of Earth's constant change in weather patterns, that means some areas receive less precipitation than others, which can lead to droughts. This impacts our wildlife because they depend on the water to grow more plants and for animals like geese, ducks, fish, etc. to raise their young. And if there is no water to provide these resources to them, that leaves them no place to thrive in. Rising sea temperatures is also a cause of climate change. Because of greenhouse gases warming up the atmosphere, it also directly affects the sea since excess heat goes into the sea. This can be seen in the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, as it is diverse in marine life and coral reefs. But since the increase of Earth's temperature, this has harmed the coral in a way called coral bleaching. This is when coral get rid of symbiotic algae that lives in their tissues, which cause them to turn white. The rising sea temperatures cause stress on the corals, which causes the bleaching.
What are the main human activities that contribute to climate change?
Deforestation and transportation contributes to climate change.
How do these activities release greenhouse gases?
Power. In order to generate electricity/heat, that requires us to burn fossil fuels, coal, oil, or even gas, which produces carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, two gases that contribute to the greenhouse effect. Deforestation, cutting down trees to make space for farms, pastures, homes, or other reasons causes emissions. Since trees absorb carbon dioxide and cutting them down, we are basically releasing carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere, which contributes to climate change. Transportation like cars that run on gasoline and diesel releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which contributes to the greenhouse effect and climate change. They contribute to about 28% of total U.S. greenhouse gas emissions.
Part 2. Human impact and solutions.
How does climate change affect oceans?
Climate change impacts the ocean in many ways, and like uncontrolled heat and energy warms the ocean and causes ice to melt, which causes sea levels to rise, exposing a darker water surface. These darker water surfaces absorb more solar radiation, which leads them to an ocean current to change.
How does climate impact human societies?
It is impacted by extreme weather events like floods, heat waves, and all cause damage to people's properties and buildings, stuff like that.
How does the growing human population contribute to climate change?
A larger population impacts climate change because that means an increase of resources like food and energy and water and transportation all affects the planet's capacity to absorb carbon, causing the Earth to warm up.
How does our consumption of natural resources play a role?
A growing population leads to more homes being built, which means more cutting down trees, and cutting down trees release carbon, and that is very bad for the climate. It makes weather more hot and more unbearable.
What are some renewable energy sources?
Some renewable energy sources that we can use are solar energy, which uses the sun as an energy source. Wind energy uses kinetic energy of moving air. And hydropower collects energy from moving water.
What are some individual actions people can take to help?
Some actions we as a society can take are using energy that is made naturally with nature, like wind power, solar power, or hydropower. And also use transportation like the bus or bike to release less carbon dioxide into the air. Recycling plastic items like water bottles, plastic containers, etc. to help.
How can scientists monitor climate change?
Scientists can monitor climate change by collecting data such as temperature, wind speed, etc. Through stabilities, they can analyze and measure climate variables of the Earth's surface.
How do we reduce the carbon footprint of your home?
We can start off by reducing the usage of light and changing the thermostat settings in homes. Also, spend money on products with less packaging and single use.
How would you measure the effectiveness of your method?
For the light reduction, you can look at light bills to see if it has gotten less expensive. For products with less packaging and single use, you'll notice less plastic in houses and around your neighborhood.
Thank you for watching.
Ho, ho, ho!